G'day, welcome back to my Corp String Challenge videos as we continue to try and connect every city around the world in a continuous single line. Now, where we left off, ... I did hear there was a comment saying that there are now more cities in Tanzania and that the capital had been moved to the correct spot. Now that does feel like that is relocated. Possibly as of last time, because it's already suffering pretty bad. So maybe let's give him a few extra planes to help him. Alrighty, so we're not dealing with too much money at the moment here. So what I probably want to do is expect to have a long session where I gain money very soon. So with that in mind, I feel like I want to get Iran on the board. How much are these going to cost me? See, if I buy 3 of them, then I'm done. But what I could do is I could leave them, and I could leave these, and I could go 1, 2, 3. And since I know that I'm going to leave it for a while, we may as well have one of the heavy hitters come in. So firstly, what we're going to do is, if nothing else, we're going to bring in Iran. Now, for now, I may as well just connect. It's $11,000. Is that worth the connection? No. Leave them unconnected for now. So these guys up here, we do have still as small planes, and that's okay because we've got to bring in these 4, these 2 as well. But I would expect that they could possibly be that I bring in. Look at that! Look at that! Oh, that should be an episode title all of its own. Finally, we get Dar es Salaam. Tanzania is alive and well. Which is good as well, because it means that along with these, like what I open here, we will get that too. One thing that I was thinking as well is what I might do is I think that once I've finished the string challenge, and obviously this is looking pretty far forward because we've still got about 25% of countries to go. Once I finish the string challenge, the next thing I might do is actually take this map and just clear all of the routes on it, and then just try and make an efficient map build of the world. Like, what's the most efficient way to have all airports connected? Because I think starting with everything already on the board, like seeing all of that, like how do you approach something like that? I feel like you must then just sort of still try and break it down into all just related to the one country. Wow. So it's stuff going south from there, so we'll give them just a small plane because we don't want the guys below it to start to overload as well. We got wow. It's not a city I've heard of coming in. Currently, the way I make money most is billionaires donating. I think is the real big ticket item. Especially the more countries that I currently have open, the more significant that's actually going to be as they come in. So the good news is that possibly means that by the time this is over, I can actually afford 4 countries, not just those 3. I'd just make... I was gonna say I might make it Bulgaria, but I actually might make it Afghanistan. Like, if we're gonna go big, let's go big. Let's get some significantly sized countries in to allow us to have this sit for a while. So, let's learn about Iran. Definitely put a B instead of an N, so I wrote Arab. Interestingly, there is a city in Iran named Arab. Alright. It is officially the Islamic Republic of Iran. It's also called Persia. I mean, I would have, if you'd asked me where Persia was, I would have said here. I mean, that would have been the Persian Empire a long time ago. That's interesting that you can just call Iran Persia. Bordered by Iraq and Turkey to the west, we can clearly see. Azerbaijan, Armenia to the northwest. Caspian Sea and Turkmenistan to the north. Afghanistan, Pakistan to the east. By the Gulf of Oman and the Persian Gulf to the south. Assuming this must be the Gulf of Oman, and that would be the Persian Gulf. And there's the word Persia coming back in. Persian Gulf. So there actually is a thing at least named, otherwise named Persia. Caspian. There's a band called Caspian. Are they still about? Fourth largest country entirely in Asia. So I guess if we're saying entirely in Asia, that just means what, we're not counting Russia and Kazakhstan? Because from a glimpse here, we're saying 1, 2, 3, 4. Kazakhstan would be bigger than Mongolia at least. Alright, well, let's give Tehran a little bit of a boost while he's just hanging around doing nothing. It has a population of 85 million. This is the 21st best GDP in the world. Alright, so let's... While we're just sort of waiting for this to come in, and I mean, we've gotten Dar es Salaam, but hopefully we get to see a few more cities also show up in Tanzania. I'll give it about 10 minutes, then I'll bring in someone else. I realize anytime I make any changes to these other countries, that's also going to impact whether or not I can bring in 4 countries today. Maybe we need to be a bit more reluctant. I also have to keep that in mind for gaining money, that that when I come back, I'm going to need more than half a million to unlock any country that we've got. But I think these will be hopefully the 3 major pauses from here on out. It'll be 1 to get India, let that build for a while, unlock a few more things, and then we'll bring in China and say Kazakhstan together, let them all open up, work our way down until we've got everyone who touches Russia, which will be probably Ukraine, Kazakhstan, and Mongolia, and China are the key ones, and then open that up. And like I said, it depends on where the Russian city is going to be, where we're going to connect them to. That guy's got 2 major planes, so it doesn't surprise me that this guy's struggling a little bit. So maybe we'll give him an extra push. Curious to see as well if there's an update that affects the layout of Ukraine. So there is the makers of this game are Russian, and you can see that in an effort to try and I guess not make a political statement too much, they've just removed Crimea entirely from Ukraine. So I wonder if with the other areas of Ukraine that have been claimed by Russia, if they'll fall off the edge of Ukraine as well. Problem is, for me looking at this, I don't know what the shape of Ukraine is. It's possible they're already gone from that map. I just can't see it. Let me just do a quick reference check on what Ukraine looks like. No, that is standard. So that is the existing borders of Ukraine, just with Crimea missing from here. Alright, let's have a look at a bit more. Hard to judge the red cities in Tanzania. I mean, firstly, this city just has so many people in it that it's going to be a long while shifting people out. The majority of these people should actually be heading south, so let's just try and help that out. Obviously, those people are then moving on to this route, so we'll give him a 300-seater as well. Once they get to here, those routes become much shorter, so they shouldn't need to see too many more people going down that way. Now, where are you headed? Are you a northbound route here? Yes, so this is north there. The final thought as well on that world redesign, once I've got all the cities of the world, would be, can I take what I learned from having all the cities and attempting to design an efficient enough layout that there's no overloads happening, which I don't think would be anywhere near as hard as this. Well, look at that. Got another guy in Tanzania. Would be, can I then take that and then apply it to an all countries mode and have a very efficient win in all countries mode? I feel like one of the things would be this city here, or any of these islands. This is Portugal. But I mean, the game, you're never really going to be playing long enough to see those sort of cities show up. But if you got those cities, like look at the distance between sort of this guy and the rest of the world. That I think that the most important thing is you don't want everyone in the world to say have to come to the same one city. Like, you don't want a single point, and it's always going to happen because it always starts you in Germany, and it's always going to be Berlin. That for a long time, you're just going to have Berlin being the center of the world. Okay, so this guy here is starting to struggle, but there's nothing that we can do for him. Because that is our max capacity. Essentially, that's our guiding stick. The efficiency of everyone else has to be less than this path right there. It's our longest flight on the map. So what I mean is, if we gave every single route on this thing 5 planes, this route would always be constantly backlogged because everyone would be more efficient than him. Our chain's only as strong as the weakest link, and that's our weakest link. Now, the alternative option that we could do is we could actually try and, like, if we say have a look, it's about 18,000 there. We could get that for, let's say, 19,000, but gotta say that that's shorter. This must be the direction that it's heading, but it's showing as higher. We could go to there, go him to there, and then bounce this guy up to there, and then come around this way, and then have that guy go down to there. It would remove that from being the longest route and shorten it to that. And it, I mean, that would be a long flight, and so would that, but neither would be as long as this flight. In 23,000, but it does seem like straight down is a more expensive venture than straight across. For no clear reason. Crosswinds? Is it more expensive to try and fly north-south? Thing is, though, that's an expensive route to have to rebuild. I'm not wanting to spend money. Thing is, though, that I'm going to be losing people every single time that caps out. Let's try it out. Give us something to do. So we'll connect those two. We'll freak out the world for a moment here when they discover they don't have to travel all the way through Greenland and its tiny little cities to get to Canada. Then we'll build this guy down here. So I'll just double check to see how many guys are on each of these flights. So this one here has 5 flights. I would guess that they must have been stacked on top of each other. So we'll go this one. Two. Pretty happy with the distance that these guys are now saying. 3, wipe that route out. Literally the whole world would recalibrate because this is the center of the world. So anytime that we're making a change here, there's a whole lot of planes that have got to rethink about what their path is. Okay, so hopefully that's reasonably split. Now, after that, what we're going to do is we're going to sell that major route. We're going to get this guy upgraded and give him a second plane. Give him a little bit longer. Go. Try and get dead between these two guys. And we'll wait for that guy to bounce back. Meantime, we'll raid that guy. Give him a friend. And then we'll give this guy. There we go. And so then we've got to give this guy some assistance too. So this guy doesn't necessarily need 5. He might be okay with, say, 3. Because it's just whether those 3 are more efficient than these 5, really. Alright, we'll see if that's any better for our major artery. Boston Lander. So this is still guys sitting that way, which is fine because we only just rebuilt that line. Alright, what else we got down here? That guy heading north. It's only a small route, so let's give him that one. I assume it's going to be that guy. Give him a small plane. A lot of these you can just sort of look at and assume which side's going to be the problem child. A lot of it's just purely because that's the way that there's passengers that want to go. Like the second that we get India and China in this, watch how dramatically it's going to fling back the other way. Another Iranian city. Well, I'm way past my my marker, so let's go Pakistan next. Got Islamabad. Alright, Pakistan, officially the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. 5th most populous country in the world with a population of almost 242 million. Has the world's second largest population. Sorry, has the world's second largest Muslim population. 33rd largest country in the world by area. Coastline along the Arabian Sea and the Gulf of Oman. So this is interesting. So I said that was the Gulf of Oman. So maybe the Gulf of Oman's even further out if that's the Arabian Sea. Where's the Arabian Sea? Because that wasn't part of what Iran was saying, was it? No, so this is the Arabian Sea here. So that must be the Gulf of Oman. I guess the bottom of it. Quite some interesting stuff to read about Pakistan and India and the sort of the separation that they have. Series of Vox videos that Johnny Harris did that was sort of about Pakistan and India and the relationship they have. Quite interesting. There's sort of the performances, there's sort of gates where they, like, both countries do like a taking the flag down at the end of the day, and how like it's almost like two sporting fan bases cheering for their side. Dallas is our main guy there, so let's go a little one for that. Los Angeles, so it's bouncing out that way. You can see that there are even green planes coming back the other way. That guy's green. They're not even moving people. So I would say that we've broken the game courtesy of making too many shifts. So let's just load it up. That's interesting. Normally, I don't think it does that, where it's it's loaded me up, zoomed all the way out. Normally, it would sort of still keep you where you were looking. These guys here are looking a lot nicer, aren't they? How's he doing? So he's 5,000, but it was this guy that was the major guy. You can see he's down to 5,000 too. So I suppose they've sort of split their worries. This guy here is coping as well. He's at 20,000. Made him a much more major airport. So let's have a look at the rate of guys arriving here. So we've got one. And these two arrive evenly, so it's 1-all. 2-to-1. Maybe 2-2. He'll make it 3-2. He'll make it 3-3. This guy's way closer than that guy. That guy's empty for some reason. There's really no one coming this way. There's 3,000 people coming to Los Angeles. You missed the memo? That guy's half empty too. There's something broken in that as well. Oh no, there we go. That's the answer. Scranton's dead. Scranton dead. Those LA people aren't moving. Could also explain what was going on here. Alright, so we're over 500,000, which means that once we bring in, like I said, we want to bring in 2 countries. So I don't really want to touch that much anymore. Let's bring in Afghanistan. So we need to make $23,000. It does make me laugh, the idea that if I just say, like, had an LA to Paris flight, that those flights would make me the exact same amount of money, I assume, as just how long it takes them to get there. Like, I'm not gaining from the long, long route. Alright, Afghanistan is officially the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. It's landlocked. I've had Afghanistan. It's not really a desert. It's more of a high plain. It's talking to a guy I used to work with that was a soldier during Afghanistan war. It was actually a very beautiful country. Population 38 million. Human habitation of Afghanistan dates back to the Middle Paleolithic era. And the country's strategic location along the historic Silk Road has led it to being described as picturesquely as the roundabout of the ancient world. So that started Xi'an? Was Xi'an the end of the Silk Road in China? Or at least a marker along the Silk Road in China? I assume it's sort of along this way. Afghanistan's there, we can assume it was somewhere, at least cross paths here somewhere. Let's see. Silk Road. So the Silk Road's a very direct sort of path that runs from out here straight across. Ends about there, with extensions off it sort of going into Europe and into Africa, and on this end going into Lower Mongolia and coast. But we're almost there, so we're at least making money. We're at least going up in money. I see something like this red guy here and just know they can't touch him, but I'll let him sit for now. They'll need a bit more help, I'd say, though. So we can afford to just chuck a little plane on that guy. Well, hopefully we're going to see a fair few more cities in Tanzania as well. It is a gaping hole Southern Africa for me at the moment. And I've no doubt in my mind I've seen India explode before, so I know that it's going to definitely give me a few cities. It's been a while, but we're finally back to a country I've visited. He wants to unlock India. Officially the Republic of India. 7th largest country by area, 2nd most populous country, and the most populous democracy in the world. A population of 1.375 billion people. Modern humans arrived on the Indian subcontinent from Africa no later than 55,000 years ago. Their long occupation, initially in varying forms of isolation as hunter-gatherers, has made the region highly diverse, second only to Africa in human genetic diversity. Alright, let's bring them in. There we go. So we've got a huge chunk of land. I guess for this one we've just sort of been waiting a little bit, especially with that money. Look at how low that money is at the moment. Payoff will be that we get to see what do I call those 4 countries combined? Try and shorten the name of what this would be. It's interesting the way that it runs all the way over. I wonder if there's a significant difference of culture or anything. It's part of India. And India is very varying anyway. With that many people, it wouldn't surprise you to know that there's a lot of different styles. I have been in India. I've been to New Delhi, Agra, Jodhpur. It's pretty about there, and then Jaisalmer. Well, Jaisalmer was in this nook, so maybe Jodhpur's down here. Jodhpur, Agra, Jaisalmer, and I can tell you, hands down, Jaisalmer was a stunning place. By far my favorite part of this brief time I've spent in India. Interesting thing as well in India. So when with their some of the religions having the sacred cows in Jaisalmer, cows had free reign of the streets. They were sort of just wandering around, and I did see 1.1 run full bolt down an alleyway and watch this lady just do a very quick step just to get out of its way. The interesting thing, which was funny to adjust to, was that our guide specifically told us to walk behind the cows because generally Australians will walk in front of cows because Australian cows kick, whereas Indian cows charge. So the instinctual thing for me is to walk around the front of a cow, whereas no, in India you want to walk around the back of it. There you go. Think about where you're from in the world and what way you walk around a cow. That's this way, so we'll give them a little bit extra. We've already got an interesting path sort of running along the top of Pakistan, Afghanistan. I would imagine that the design here of these little countries that I haven't taken, Georgia and Azerbaijan are just going to sort of sneak into this run here, I would say, as we continue on. So I'll make that connection there, and then these guys will all just sort of connect into there. These four I'm expecting are just going to actually connect into Europe. I mean, potentially this city here of Greece should also connect in there. So we'll see if we get any more Greek cities, because I've only got 2 at the moment, which feels very underdone with how empty that land looks. So possibly Greece will get to join Europe, and we can disconnect it from Turkey, which is a very logical cut there. But it's not currently for Athens. Like, I could connect this guy at the top just back into North Macedonia. Athens would then just be sort of on its own in Turkey. So we'll see how that comes up too. All right, well there we go. You can see the groundwork we've laid for what's to come next. And when I see you next, we should hopefully have a very populated that part of the world. Persia? The Persian coast? The Persian coast? Is that the Persian Sea? Persian coast. Let's run with that. Until next time, catch you later.